Hello everyone, how are we all feeling after that flaky ass result last night against Wolves where we scraped through due to a Raphael Varane winner. We just won 1-0, but that does not tell the whole story about the game. I think there was a lot of interesting things to analyse regarding the match, and I think it's important we go through it together. But before we do, please do me a favour, share this video to a friend, smash a like on the video, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. Now, I'm going to kick things off with Jadon Sancho. So, number one, Sancho has to start. There was very few shining lights in last night's performance, but Jadon Sancho coming off the bench looked sharp. He looked fit. He was expressing himself, and I don't want to go too much in on Garnacho because he's still a kid, but he's still learning in it, Garnacho. Like, a lot of people calling for him to start. I think he's better off the bench. I think he's more of an impact sub. Maybe he'll get to that level where he's starting to show consistency for the full 90 minutes. But right now, judging off what I saw from last night, he is more of a substitute. And look, last night will be a lesson for it, won't it? If we're being completely transparent, that was probably one of Garnacho's worst performances I've ever seen in a United shirt, personally. He was constantly giving the ball away. He couldn't beat his man. He was getting outdone, outclassed, like physically. He was getting outdone. He wasn't tracking back. He really struggled. And I think when we travelled to Spurs on Saturday, I think we play him at 5:30, Jadon needs to start in that game, and whether he starts as a false 9, I don't know if that can work in the Premier League. I'm still not completely sold on it. Just because it worked in pre-season doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work in Premier League. So if he starts as a false 9, you move Rashford out to the left-hand side, that's great. If Anthony stays on the right, that's fine. Maybe you can put Sancho on the left and keep Marcus up top. I don't know how Erik ten Hag is going to address it. I don't expect Garnacho to start on the left again, and I do expect Jadon to come into the team. But it's one of them where we're still kind of waiting for someone to grab that final spot in attack, because Ten Hag is always going to play Anthony because he spent a lot of money on him. It's his guy. He had him at Ajax. Like, he will always start regardless of whatever your opinions is or my opinions or the fan base in general. And then Marcus Rashford's always going to start. You're talking about the player with the best output last season, 30 goals in all competitions. He's guaranteed to start. So then that leaves one spot. Maybe when Rasmus comes in, he takes that spot. That's your front three there. Maybe not. Maybe Rashford has a dip in form. Maybe Anthony has a dip in form. But I think Jadon Sancho, he's had 2 seasons now. Garnacho's at the start of his career, so there's an opportunity to regain authority in that position. And I think Jadon Sancho can do that. He looks sharp enough, fit enough. He was running at players. He was good on the ball. Now is your opportunity. Like I said, you've had 2 seasons to do it. Go and grab it, Jadon. Let's see what you can do. Number 2, midfield balance. All over the place. Disjointed, no cohesiveness. Casemiro was exposed and struggled with the load. I think Casemiro in that game in total had 2 out of 12 ground duels, which is completely unlike him. Very rusty. Mount and Bruno Fernandes was way too high up the pitch, leaving acres of space centrally. Cunha and Sarabia were taking advantage of that. I think it's evident we need to bring Amrabat in, but the question is, who do you take out? Who do you take out? Your new signing Mason Mount, your captain Bruno Fernandes, or arguably your best player last season in Casemiro. It's an absolute minefield, but that experiment didn't work. I thought it would be okay. I can see what Ten Hag wants to do, but he's going to have to tweak something. Maybe you can move Bruno or Mason Mount onto the wing, Amrabat into midfield, and that might be more balanced. But if we play like that against a big team, and you've got Haaland at the end of them chances that Wolves had last night, you're looking at potentially another 7-0 on your hands there. We are very, very lucky Wolves don't have a killer up top who can put them away, because that could have been very, very ugly last night. We absolutely got done in that midfield. Casemiro just covering so much ground on his own, and I get the counter press approach. The Bruno and Mount as the 2 10s, like pushing high up, but it just didn't work. It didn't work. So whether that forces United's hands or Ten Hag's hands, whatever you want to call it, to push that Amrabat deal through quicker, to bring more balance into it, potentially, I don't know. But I don't think, judging just purely off last night, maybe he'll make some tweaks and it'll work, but just purely off last night, we can't go into big games with that midfield. Not a chance, because we will get lit up like a Christmas tree. So that is something to keep an eye on. Again, how does Ten Hag address this short term? Because there's no doubt that midfield needs tightening up and needs to be more compact in and out of possession. So going into that Spurs game, how do you repair that? Let's see what he does. Number 3, we need a number 9 desperately. I love Marcus Rashford, but you can tell he does not enjoy playing that number 9 role. I think the first half he had 4 touches. That was it. he was basically Casper the Friendly Ghost in the first half because he just was non-existent. Then when he moved to the left-hand side, he looked a little bit better, but just as that focal point, as the 9, it just doesn't work. And I've always said he can do a job there in certain games. You're playing against Arsenal. You saw Arsenal last season, prime example. City, prime example. Like, there are games there where he can exploit that space, and it can be really useful, especially with players like Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes. But yesterday, whenever he got on the ball, he was like very isolated. He got outnumbered in certain situations and struggled to get a shot off, really. And I think it's important to note as well, look, this isn't just on Marcus Rashford. I think the wingers either side of him, in particular, really, really greedy. Antony and Garnacho. The service was lacking because the midfield was disjointed. So there was elements to it where it weren't just Marcus's fault. And Wolves, if we're being completely honest, were absolutely fantastic in the way they played. I even think the players were shocked at how good Wolves were. Like Gary O'Neill, to have 4 days with them and have them playing the way they was, I thought it was unbelievable. He kept our attack quiet, won a lot of the 1v1 duels, and physical battles as well. We was losing every physical battle. And if you can't get a foothold there at Old Trafford, what are you going to do? So for me, it's simple. You want your best players in the best positions. Marcus likes playing on the left. Keep him there. When Rasmus Højlund comes in, there's obviously going to be massive expectation and weight on his shoulders. But considering we haven't had a 9 who's scored in the league consistently since Ronaldo in his first season, all he has to do is come in, link play, be a threat in behind, and eventually start finishing those chances that we are creating. And that alone will take a massive load off the team and potentially unlock Marcus Rashford as well. So let's see what happens. Number 4, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is number 1 choice at right back. Alongside Raphael Varane, I thought he was man of the match last night. His ability on the ball has improved significantly. He has this kind of mad way of dribbling where it looks like he's going to lose it, but somehow wiggles past the player. Like I can't explain it. I don't know what it is. It's a little bit mad, but he works. Defensively, we've always known he's been better than Delo in that situation. He's an absolute rock at the back. Regardless of whatever winger he comes up against, he's been amazing against the likes of Sterling, Mbappe, everyone. Like he's unbelievable. Going forward was always the question with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but I think he's getting near, not on Dalot level, but he's getting closer and closer, or at least the same level. I think I actually really like him going forward. He got an assist last night, very good cross for Varane. It's mad that he's taken 2 defenders to carve a goal out for us. That just basically described our performance yesterday. I think it's interesting. You can start to see a partnership blossoming with Antony now on that right-hand side. And I've got some stats here from last night. So minutes played, 90, 1 assist, 2 clearances, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles, 90% pass accuracy, 3 key passes, and 1 clean sheet. We are going to need this defence this season if we play like we did last night. That was our core last season. De Gea won the Golden Glove for the most clean sheets for a reason, right? It's because our defence was absolutely solid. Martinez was a little bit off last night, but apart from that, the rest of them looked pretty good, I would suggest. So, yeah, more performances like that from Aaron Wan-Bissaka, please. And he's starting every game for me at the minute, unless Dalot changes my mind. Number 5, Andre Onana impressed on his debut. Last night wasn't a showcase of his distribution. I didn't think it was more of his actual ability as a goalkeeper. And I thought he made some fantastic saves, especially with his feet in, ironically, De Gea style. Some at close range as well, really good saves. He claimed some dangerous crosses. Obviously, I had the situation with the penalty, but I even said at the time, and this might be United bias, call it whatever you want, I don't care. He wasn't looking at the players. He was genuinely attempting to catch the ball. The 2 players kind of bumped into each other. It was a little bit of a mess, but VAR looked at it and didn't give it. I think the officials have been sacked for next weekend, or they've been taken off the thing, so maybe they weren't happy with the decision that they made, and maybe most people would say it's a penalty, but at the time, I didn't think it was. The ball had already been played, sorry. I wouldn't give it personally, but I can see both sides of the argument. And despite what Andy Gray and Richard Keys will say on beIN Sports, I don't know if anyone's seen that segment where they're saying, Richard, what's a goalkeeper's job? And he's like, to save goals. And he's like, exactly. So why did they brought Onana in? It's not the best Scottish accent, granted, but they're still talking about this. There's that kind of dinosaur philosophy where it's like the 90s men's club, blah, blah, blah. I said on the live the other day, I was expecting like a Jurassic Park theme tune. Cue the music. Dinosaurs. It's dinosaur opinions. Onana's a fantastic goalkeeper, in my opinion, and we saw both sides to his game last night. His character's going to be mega important as well. I noticed him constantly communicating with the back 4 last night, being a leader from the back. We know De Gea at the best of times wasn't vocal whenever he was making mistakes, so I'm happy with his debut. One of the better players for me. Only 27 years old, by the way. £43 million. I think when we look back at that in a few years' time, that's going to look like one of the best pieces of business we've done in a while, in my personal opinion. But let me know if there's anything that I've missed that you guys would address just based off the performance last night. Let me know in individuals how you thought Mason Mount got on, Andre Onana, a couple of others in the team. Who was your standout player? And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Make sure you leave a like on the video for us and subscribe to Real Reds Talk. You bunch of legends. Peace.